Lamentations chapter 1. How lonely sits the city, this was full of people. How like a widow she has become, she who was great among the nations, and princes amongst the provinces, has become a servant. She weeps sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she has none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt deceitfully with her, they have become her enemies. Judah has gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great slavery she dwells amongst the heathen, she finds no rest. All her pursuers have overtaken her, the path of Zion mourns, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are deserted, her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her enemies have become chief, her enemies are blessed, for the Lord has afflicted her for the multitude of her sins. Her children have gone into captivity before the enemy. And from the daughter of Zion all her beauty has departed. Her princes have become like harts who find no pasture, and they have gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembered all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, in the days of her afflictions and of her mournings, when her people fell into the hands of the enemy and none helped her. The adversaries saw her and mocked at her Sabbaths. Jerusalem has grievously sinned before she is removed. All who honored her despised her because they have seen her nakedness. Yet she sighs and turns backwards. Her uncleanness is in her skirts. She does not remember her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. The enemy has spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things. She has seen that the heathen entered into her holy place, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. All her people sigh, and they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for food to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and look upon me, for I have become vile. Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Behold and see if there is any sorrow like my sorrow, which is done to me, with which the Lord has afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. From above he has sent fire into my bones, and it has laid them low. He has spread a net for my feet. He has turned me back. He has made me amazed and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgressions is bound by his hand. They are woven together and have become upon my neck. He has made my strength to fall. The Lord has delivered me into their hands, for whom I am not able to rise up. The Lord has trampled all my mighty men in the midst of me. He has called a gathering against me to crush my young men. The Lord has trampled the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. For these things I weep, my eyes run down with water, because the Comforter who could refresh my soul is far from me. My children are deserted, because the enemy overcame. Zion spreads forth her hand, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord has commanded concerning Jacob, that his enemies should be all around him, and Jerusalem is among them as a woman who is bleeding in her monthly season. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. I pray you, all people, hear and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders gave up the spirit in the city, while they sought food to bring back their life. Behold, O Lord, for I am in trouble. My inward parts are upset. My heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. The sword takes away abroad, and at home it is as death. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do it to them, as thou hast done to me. For all my transgressions, for my sighs are many, and for my heart it is faint. Lamentations chapter 2. How the Lord has covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast the beauty of Israel down from heaven to the earth. and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord has swallowed up all the homes of Jacob, and has not pitied. In his wrath he has thrown down the strongholds of the daughters of Judah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has defiled the kingdom and the princes of it. He has cut off all the horn of Israel in his fierce anger. He has drawn back his right hand from before the enemy, and he burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devours all around. He has bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand like an adversary, and killed all who were pleasant to the eye. In the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion, there he poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was like an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed his strongholds, and has increased mourning and weeping in the daughter of Judah. And he has violently taken his tabernacle away as if it were of a garden. He has destroyed his meeting places. The Lord has caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Judah and Zion, and has despised the king and the priest in the fury of his anger. The Lord has cast off his altar. He has despised his sanctuary. He has given up the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemies. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the days of a solemn feast. The Lord has purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore he made the rampart and the wall to lament. They droop together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are amongst the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughters of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silence. They have cast up dust on their heads. They have clothed themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang their head to the ground. My eyes fail me with tears. My inward parts are troubled. My liver is poured upon the earth for the ruin of the daughter of my people, because the children and the babes faint in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, Where are bread and wine? When they fainted as the wounded in the streets of the city, when their soul was poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for you? What thing shall I compare to you, O daughter of Zion? What shall I equal to you to, so that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? For your break is great like the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have been false and foolish things for you, and they have not uncovered your iniquity, to turn away your captivity. But they have seen false oracles and causes of banishment for you. All who pass by clap their hands at you. They hiss and wag their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, We have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found and we have seen. The Lord has done that which he has purposed. He has fulfilled his word which he commanded in the days of old. He has thrown down and not pitied, and he has caused your enemy to rejoice over you. He has set up the horn of your foes. Their heart cried to the Lord, O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river, day and night. Give yourself no rest. Let the apple of your eye not cease. Arise, cry out in the night. In the beginning of the watches, pour out your heart like water. Before the face of the Lord, lift up your hands toward him. For the eyes of your young children who faint for hunger in the head of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit? Children they have swaddled with their hands. Shall the priest and the prophets be killed in the holy place of the Lord? The young and the old lie in the streets. My virgins and my young men have fallen by the sword. Thou hast killed them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as a solemn day my terrors all around, so that the day of the Lord's anger none escaped nor remained. Those whom I have swaddled and brought up, they my enemy has destroyed.
We're continuing with Family Bible Reading Fellowship, and now we will be reading the 3rd chapter of Lamentations. I am the man that hath seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin hath he made old. He hath broken my bones. He hath builded against me, and compassed me with gall and travail. He hath set me in dark places, as they that be dead of old. He hath hedged me about, that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. Also, when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways, and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He hath bent his bow, and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. I was a derision to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stones. He hath covered me with ashes, and thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity, and I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul hath then still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence, because he hath borne it upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust, if so be there may be hope. He giveth his cheek to him that smiteth him. He is filled full with reproach. For the Lord will not cast off forever. But though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion, according to the multitude of his mercies. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause. The Lord approveth not. Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? Out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good. Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search and try our ways, and turn again to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hands unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain, thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare is come upon us, desolation and destruction. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickleth down, and ceaseth not without any intermission, till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. Mine enemies chased me sore, like a bird without cause. They have cut off my life in the dungeon, and cast a stone upon me. Waters flowed over mine head. Then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drewest near in the day that I called upon thee. Thou saidst, Fear not. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the causes of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. O Lord, thou hast seen mine wrong. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance and all their imaginations against me. Thou hast heard their reproach, O Lord, and all their imaginations against me. The lips of those that rose up against me, and their device against me all the day. Behold, they're sitting down, and they're rising up. I am their music. Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them. Persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heavens of the Lord. We're continuing with Family Bible Reading Fellowship, and presently we will be reading chapter 4 of Lamentations. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hand stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her, they have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, They shall no more sojourn there. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, Under the shadow we shall live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. We're continuing with our family Bible reading fellowship, and presently we will read the last chapter of Lamentations, Lamentations chapter 5. Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread with the peril of our lives, because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven, because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah. Princes are hanged up by their hand. The faces of elders were not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased. Our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For this our heart is faint. For these things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, remainest forever. Thy throne from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us so long time? Turn thou unto us, O Lord, and we shall be turned. Renew our days as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us. Thou art very wroth against us.